Okay. We are discussing about exception handling. Exception handling or error handling. Exception handling or error handling. What is SQL exception, SQL state, and error code? What is error code first? What is error code? What is SQL state? And what is SQL exception? To complete exception handling, you should definitely know these three keywords. What are these three keywords? Error code is a unique ID which is given by SQL for each and every error separately. It is ID of error. There are totally 880 plus errors in SQL, MySQL. MySQL people itself, MySQL developers, application developers itself researched about these errors and they gave unique IDs for each and every error. For each error, there will be a ID number. Like error ID number 100, 1000, 1000, 1000, 2000, 3. IDs will start from 1000 and end with 1880. 880 errors are there. For each and every error, they gave a error ID which is called error code. After that, we have something called SQL state. To handle 880 errors separately, we cannot write 880 error handlers separately, because if you are writing 880 exception handlers, the code will become 880 lines more. We can't handle each and every error separately. Based on the scenario or based on the type of error, if error is belonging to storage capacity, if error is related to storage, all these storage related errors are divided into separate places. If error is related to table names or column names, all these name related errors are divided into different places. Like this, errors are divided into separate groups. Separate groups based on the type of error. Based on the type of error, errors are divided into separate groups. These group names are called SQL state. These group names are called SQL state. SQL state. After that, we have something called SQL exception. SQL exception. Any error in SQL, all these 880 errors can be handled by this keyword called SQL exception. It's a keyword. Keyword called SQL exception. Any error can be handled by this particular keyword called SQL exception. What is the syntax for declaring variable? What is declare variable name? Is it enough? Declare variable name. Is it enough? We have to give the data type for variable also. Whatever it might be, we will give some data type. Whatever the data type it might be, we will give. Declare variable name and its data type. Declare variable name and its data type. Similarly, for error also or for exception also, if you want to write handlers, you have to declare the handler. Declare. And here there will be some part called action. You have to write what type of handler it is. I am taking continue handler. continue handler for, and you have to write error code here. What is the error code? Yesterday we got one error code called 1146. Declare continue handler for 1146, and you will have begin and end. Begin and end. In between this begin and end, you have to write the message which you want to print whenever this particular error occurs. You want to write a message which you want to print whenever this particular error occurs. Select 1146 is the error which occurs whenever the table name is wrong. 1146 will occur whenever the table name is wrong. We will write please check table name. Please check table name as message. As message. Please check table name as message. This select query will be written between begin and end. Whenever this error called 1146 occurs, it will print the message called please check table name in the column called message. No brackets. It will print the message called please check table name instead of this error. It will not throw any particular error. Yeah. No, it will not show any error. Instead of error, it will pass that particular message. I will show you. Yeah. Yeah, it is existing error only. Yeah. Here we wrote a small stored procedure in last session. I wrote a stored procedure. I forgot about this definer. This definer is a storage space where it is storing. Create procedure error handler begin and end. In between begin and end, I wrote a query called select star from AC details, which is not present in our database. If we execute this particular stored procedure, I will get an error called 1146 table besant bank dot account details doesn't exist. This is the error for executing this particular stored. I don't want this particular error. If there is any error in my stored procedure, I don't want to show it for my customer. Instead of that, I want to pass some message. What will I do means, I will write declare continue handler for 1146. 1146 is the error code. After that, you have to write begin and end. Begin, end. In between this begin and end, you have to write the query. Select check your table name. Check your table name as message. Check your table name as message. After that, click on apply. Finish. Now, if I execute this particular error handler stored procedure, instead of the error, it will pass me the message. Query executed successfully. But instead of error, I got a message called check your table name. I didn't get any error. Whenever the error called 1146 occurs, instead of the query, this handler will work. Handler which we wrote, the query which we wrote inside the handler will work. Here, I already told you that we have two actions. Here I wrote continue handler. Inside a stored procedure, we can write multiple queries, right? Stored procedure is used to store multiple queries. View is used to write only single query. Inside stored procedure, we will write many number of queries or sequence of procedure. We can write the whole process in multiple queries. Here we have two type of actions for stored procedures, which are called continue and exit. Continue and exit. Continue handler and exit handler. For example, I have sequence of 4 queries inside a stored procedure. Inside a stored procedure, I have query 1, query 2, query 3, and query 4. Let us consider these 4 are 4 different select queries. And there is some error in query 2. There is some error in some query 2. You wrote some handler here. After starting begin, at the starting of stored procedure only, we have to declare anything. If you want to declare, you have to declare it before the select queries only. You wrote one handler, you declared one handler here. You wrote one continue handler for this second select query. Whatever the error code you got, for that error code, you wrote a continue handler. For that particular error code, you wrote a continue handler. What will happen if you write a continue handler means it will execute the first query. It will show the handler message which you are passing instead of the error. Query is mistake, query is getting error. For that error only you wrote a handler. You will pass some message through that handler. That message will be printed instead of this particular error. And after that, query number 3 and 4 also will get executed successfully. It will continue the procedure. After that, we have something called exit handler. If you write a exit handler for the same error, first it will execute the query number 1. After that, instead of query 2, as it is a error, as the query is wrong here, it will throw the handler message. It will give the handler message, error handler message. After that, it will exit from the procedure. It will not continue with next queries. It will exit from procedure. Continue handler will continue with next queries. After the error, it will continue with next queries. Exit handler will skip from the stored procedure or exit from the stored procedure. These are the two actions that we have in exception handler. Yeah, I will show you. For example, this first query is mistake. I am writing one more query. Select star from transaction details. This query is correct. Here the table name is mistake. AC details is not exist in our database, but transaction details is present. Right? Transaction details is correct table name. Query is completely correct. If I execute this stored procedure, here I am writing multiple queries inside the stored procedure. Two different select queries. If I am writing continue handler, for the first query, there is an error called 1146 because table name is wrong. It will print the message for the first query. For the first query, it will print a message called check your table name. And it will continue the stored procedure and it will execute the second query as usual. It will execute the second query also. If I execute this stored procedure, in the result one, I will get for the first query output, which is check your table name. There is error in the particular query and I got this message. And second query execute successfully. Select star from transaction details. Both queries got executed. If you are using exit handler instead, this is continue handler. Even if there is error, next it will continue with the stored procedure. It will continue with next queries. If you are writing exit handler instead of continue handler, What will it do means, after the error query, it will not execute next queries. In the first query, there is an error. In the first query, there is exception called error called 1146. Instead of this error, it will pass this message, check your table. It will not execute the next queries. It will not continue the stored procedure. It will exit from the stored procedure. After this particular error, it will exit from the stored procedure. If I execute this exit handler, there is only one result. Continue handler will continue with the next queries also. Even if there is any error, it will continue with next queries. Yeah, it will show error. If transaction details is mistake, this table name is mistake. I enter some wrong table name. That table is not present. If I click on apply, finish. For both queries, table name is wrong. I wrote error handler for 1146. It is a exit handler. That's why it will skip after first query only. Exit handler will skip after first query only. After first error, it will exit from the stored procedure. If you write continue handler instead, continue handler instead. If you write continue handler, it will execute both the queries. For the first query is also table is now wrong. Check your table name. For the second query also check your table name. Table name is wrong. If you want, based on your requirement, if you want to continue the query even if there is any error, then you have to use continue handler. If you want to exit from that query, you have to use exit handler based on your requirement. Because in banking scenarios, most of the times we will use only exit handler. For example, you are trying to take mini statement. We are printing current date and time, account details, account holder name, last 6 months transactions, and also current balance at time. We are printing mini statement in the same order. Even if there is error in one particular query, it will not print anything. It will exit from the stored procedure and it will give you a message called something went wrong, please try again. Except current balance, it can't print remaining stored procedure, right? There is only error in one particular query, except that it cannot print remaining stored procedure. It will completely exit from the stored procedure and it will print the message called something went wrong, please try again later. Yeah, this handler is not for one query. This is for stored procedure. Throughout the stored procedure, yeah, here you give error for the yeah, for error type. Here, if you got any error called 1146, you will get the same message in the output. For example, here you have one more error called, you gave some column names for this particular query. Select student ID.
Account ID.
Student ID. Account ID is present in transaction details. You will not get error. Select student ID from transaction details. Why do we have student ID in transaction? It is wrong, right? Query is wrong. There will be a different error code for this particular error. If I click on apply, it will be executed. After that, if I click on execute, I will get different error. 1054. 1054. 1054 unknown column student ID in fields list. Then what you have to do? You have to write one more handler. 1054 is the error code, right? 1054. Declare continue handler for 1054. Check your column name. Column name. Whenever you got the error called 1146, you will get this particular message. Check your table name. Whenever you get the error called 1054, you will get this message. For the first error, you have to get the message called check your table name. For the second error, you have to get the message called check your column name. I applied this stored procedure. If I execute this particular query, check your table name for the first error, 1146. Check your column name for second error called 1054. As it is continue handler, it is executing two queries after the first error. If it is a exit handler, it will throw the message for the first error itself. After that, it will exit from the stored procedure. How many errors are there in SQL? 880. If you are writing a big stored procedure, if you want to declare 880 handlers, is it possible to write 880 handlers one by one? Declare continue handler for 1123, 1134, 1156. Like that, you have to write 880 handlers. Is it possible? No. That's why what we will do means we will write a keyword called SQL exception. Handler for SQL exception. SQL exception. For any errors in this SQL, for all 880 errors, this keyword can handle all 880 errors. If any error, if you got any error inside the stored procedure, for customer, you have to throw the message called something went wrong. Something went wrong, please try again. For ATMs, they will send a message called temporarily unavailable. There is any issue with the query, they will send the message called temporarily unavailable. Like that, you have to send a message which is understandable by the customer. Here I am sending a message called something went wrong, please try again. If I execute this particular error handler, for any error, as I am writing continue handler, it will execute both the queries. And for any error, it will show the message called something went wrong, please try again. For the first error, something went wrong, please try again. For the second error, something went wrong, please try again. If you write exit handler, after first error itself, it will quit from the query. You write exit handler. After first error itself, it will quit from the query, or it will exit from the query. Yeah, in real time, if you want to write handler in mini statement procedure, you have to write exit. Yeah, many examples. If you are printing any pay slips or something by using SQL, for example, in pay slips, sometimes you will not get your father name, mother name, or something. They will not print all details. Even if all details are not available, they will continue with next queries. They will print with remaining details. These are the two type of handlers we have in SQL: continue handler and exit handler. We can declare handlers for SQL state, SQL exception, or error code. Whatever it might be, we can declare handlers. If you want to declare group wise, you have to write SQL state, SQL state, and you have to give that group name in single quotes. You have to give that error group name in single quotes. That error group name will be H100. Like this error group name will be there for each and every error. You have to check that error code book and you have to give that group name. If error is present in that particular group, it will handle all the errors of that group. Otherwise, you can declare directly, you can write SQL exception. SQL exception will handle over all ATT errors. SQL error code will be declared. Yeah. Yeah. SQL state is used to handle a separate group of errors separately. One group of errors separately. SQL error code is used to handle single separate error. Error code is unique ID for each and every error. We can handle only that particular error using error code. SQL state is used to handle over a group. Similar type of errors are separated by group wise, right? If you want to handle all the errors in that particular group, you have to use SQL state. If you don't want to handle group wise also, even if you get any error in SQL, you want to handle using only single word, you can handle by using SQL exception. SQL exception is a keyword which can handle any error in SQL. If you want to handle group wise, you have to give SQL state. Here you will have table. You will have some table. You will have some table called SQL error codes. Error codes. MariaDB. This is the website name. Remember this MariaDB. Will be like MariaDB error codes. If you scroll down here, you will have shared MariaDB or MySQL error codes. These first things are MySQL error codes. By using this table, you can through some websites you can download PDF also regarding error codes, and you can utilize them. We have 880 errors totally in SQL. All these are different types of errors in SQL. Up to this particular error, we have 880 errors in SQL. Most errors are present in the group called HY000. See, here also a lot of errors are there in HY000 group. Lot of errors are present in HY000 group. Like that, there will be separate groups for each and every error. Those group name is called SQL state. For each and every error, there will be separate ID, which is called error code. For each error, there will be a unique ID. For first error, 1000. Second error, 1001. Like that, for each and every error, there will be a separate ID, which is called error code. Yeah, HY000. No. If you are using group wise, you have to mention group name. All these errors which are coming under HY000 can be handled by only this SQL state HY000.
How can we check current balance in the account? Like when we were doing DQ and
Select current balance from account details. Select current balance from account details.